Hello, Paul.
Yeah, hello again. Pleased to be back to discuss nonconformity number 2.
Yeah, this time number 2 was 10.2.1, coming from ISO 9001, in fact, and actually very similar to the number 1, 10.2.3. So I will give you the voice right now. Please tell us what would be expected with this.
Yeah. And I think the first learning point for the viewers is that to maintain IATF 16949 certification, you also have to meet the fundamental ISO 9001 requirements. And that's proven that auditors will raise nonconformities against the fundamental requirements. In this case, number 2 major nonconformity is in the ISO 9001 standard. And like 10.2.3, this looks about how do we deal with nonconformities and how do we deal with problems. And this is any type of problem. It isn't just, again, about dealing with customer related issues. It's dealing about problems within the organization that could originate from any one of the quality management system processes. It could originate from internal audits that are done within the organization. But very like 10.2.3, the first thing that this requirement starts about is before we get into any detailed problem solving, that we need to take good correction or we need to take good containment. Those terms are somewhat interchangeable, I think. But if we look at this, what immediate action are we going to take to protect the external customer or protect the internal customer? Because the last thing that we want is the same problem happening again while we are going through our problem solving process. So we need to think about what are we going to do to investigate the problem immediately, and do we need to put any interim protection in place, correction or containment in place to stop any more escape of the same problem happening again. And I think some organizations are very narrow when they look at that. Yeah. Oh, I found that, but they only look at very immediate action. They don't look while they're going through problem solving. Do we need to do extra checks? Do we need to do extra inspections while we are trying to find the root cause of the problem? So I think that's the first lesson.
But this is not only thing, this what you've said in this clause for requirement. You also have to review effectiveness, yes, of the actions implemented. You have to analyze maybe risk analysis, updates, and so on.
No, you're right. So the first part is that immediate action. But the fire's lit, we've put the fire out. Yeah, but that's not solving the problem. What we're trying to do is to get to the root cause of the problem. Because what we need to do is use structured problem solving methodology to get to the root cause or causes. So there could be multiple root causes for a single nonconformity. So we have to use structured problem solving. Probably the most common used in the automotive industry is 5Y, but that's not the only root cause analysis tool. And then once we believe that we've got to the root cause or the root causes, what we've then got to do is apply the systemic corrective action to stop the same problem happening again. And the way that we'll do that is to change the quality management system, to change the documented process, to change the procedure, to change the work instruction, to try and make sure that the same problem doesn't happen again. And once we've done that, once we've implemented the corrective action, we've got to verify that the corrective action is effective. We shouldn't wait for the customer to do that. We shouldn't wait for the third-party auditor to do that. We should do it in our own process. That could be done, for example, by doing follow-up audits. So we can do follow-up internal audits to verify that any corrective actions that have been taken have been implemented in a systemic way to prevent the reoccurrence of the same problem happening again.
Yes, exactly. I hope it will help the organization in the future to avoid that kind of non-conformity and how to review how their process is effective. Yes, right now currently working.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the parting comment would be that it's great having documents saying how our problem solving should work, but we truly have got to make sure that people working in problem solving are given the right tools, given the right training. But I know many organizations, they train people, but they never verify the effectiveness of the training. So we've got to make sure that people haven't just sat a one-day problem solving course, for example, but they can do practical problem solving relative to the processes that they're working in. And that only comes with practice. Yeah.
So you can actually expect another problems. I wouldn't say non-conformities against, you know, competences if you are not verifying the effectiveness of the trainings provided to the employee.
That's the key. That it's not just a matter of showing I've trained all my people in problem solving. It's making sure, is that training making sure that they can do effective problem solving for the different scale of problems they're dealing with. You know, not everybody has to be a black belt, but they have to have the relevant competencies to do the problem solving.
Exactly. Okay. So let's maybe reveal what would be the third nonconformity from the top 10 list.
Oh, come on, you can tell us that. Yeah.
It will be manufacturing design process outputs against.
So that's gonna be an interesting discussion, because that is a big requirement.
A lot.
But again, it doesn't surprise me from what I see in the automotive industry. I think it's no surprise to people that the process design output is in the top 3.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Let's hear us in another episode. Thank you.
See you again soon.